All right, it's been a while since I took a look at ThriveCart Learn. We looked at it right when it came out, and when I first did my overview slash review, maybe I don't know if I'd call it a review, but when I took a first look at it, it was missing a few things, and I think at that time wasn't quite ready for most people to jump into. But it's come a long way, and I want to do a revisit of ThriveCart Learn to update my thoughts for you, as well as tell you who I think it's for, who it's not for, uh, some of the features that are still missing, and some things that I think it does really well. So let's not waste any time and dive right in. Before we jump in, I want to show you the pricing of ThriveCart Learn. It is just like the base ThriveCart product. It's a lifetime deal. I think it's probably always going to be a lifetime deal. They've had this countdown on their website forever. So I'm not going to give you any kind of fake scarcity here. I don't think that's going away anytime soon. Essentially, it's a one-time fee. So I'll give you a link where you can just basically come right to the checkout if you're interested. So the base product of ThriveCart with ThriveCart Pro, which I do recommend you get Pro and not just the base product. It's $690 one time. And then you can, if you scroll down to the bottom of your cart before you activate your account, you can toggle on this Add Learn Plus for just $195. So that's it. That's $195 forever. It's added into your account, and you can basically go right in, and for a total of $885, you'll never pay another fee to ThriveCart again. Pretty good deal, because the closest competitors are not one-time fees. So within the first year, if you go basically beyond a year with your business, you'll be saving money. Okay, so let's dive in. I've basically cleared out my entire ThriveCart Learn account, and in here, we're going to start from the beginning. We're going to give you my updated thoughts on where ThriveCart Learn is at. When I very first reviewed it, it was missing a few things, and the experience wasn't quite where I thought it should be, but I do know they've come a long way, and there's a lot to take a look at. So let's dive in. So right here in the first page, we can edit our student login page and we can edit our student dashboard. Let's go ahead and edit our login page to get a feel for what customization has been added here compared to where it was at when I very first looked at ThriveCart Learn. So right here, we can change some things if you hover over them. For example, if you click sign in, you can modify that to whatever you want. Looks like you can also go ahead and if I click add this, I can drag in an image and drop it anywhere that I want to. Looks like I've got some old school images in here. Let's just call it a pro member. That'll do. Click use image. Oh, see, that's terrible in this background. So first thing, can I change that background color? And yeah, I totally can. So I could change it to something that might look a little more usable. Let's do that random color. And you can click into any of these text boxes here and you can make changes to them that you'd like. In addition to these already populated sections, you could, if you wanted to, add more imagery. I could drop an image above. Let's say I wanted to use my old school Convology Pro logo there. I could do that. I could shrink the width of that, and I could then, if I wanted to, remove that image there. Actually, delete that entirely if I wanted to. Customize some colors back. All right, it's not so bad there. Then if I wanted to, I could add in a video. For example, like a lot of people, like I work with a lot of course creators, and I think the number one thing everybody tells me their users say to them is, how do I log in? I can't find my login. The joys of managing users, right? So maybe put a video how to log in, or if you're struggling to log in, give them some information there. That's not bad. So it looks like now, compared to when we very first got started with this thing, we couldn't customize this page at all. It was really static, wasn't exactly how I would have wanted it. And now that's not a problem. We can come in here and make quite a few changes if we really wanted to the page. So I think that's actually a pretty good step in the right direction. So let's just go ahead and save that. And now let's edit the student dashboard. Let's see if this is a good place to start. All right, I think that is pretty good actually. Looks like they've populated some sample courses here for us because we have an empty account, which is a nice touch. That's not always something that you find. Let's go ahead and adjust this image to one that might be more readable here. There we go. So we can change our logo out if we want to. If I click onto this top bar, can I, yep, I can change the color of that more to my specific brand. Doesn't look like I can change anything here with the avatar in the upper right-hand side. That's okay. I can change the word your courses to something else. I can adjust all the same font settings, or I can simply delete it. And again, I can add in videos wherever I want to put them. I can add in 3 videos, the ability to like auto populate videos in columns or video with text. So you could put text here and then resize this to where it's not just absolutely enormous, right? So you could put like a text box, right? Put anything here. Seems like it could provide a pretty good user experience. We'll clean this up, then we'll go baseline with our dashboard for now. But you get the idea. There's a lot of customization that you can do here. So we'll save our dashboard, not to spend too much time customizing it for now. Maybe we'll jump back into it though. And now let's take a look at the different sections that we have here for adding courses and content into ThriveCart Learn. So first we have our courses, and courses have to belong to a project. So we'll need to create a project, which is like a folder. It describes all that right here. So we put our courses inside our projects, and then we have bundles, which is basically like saying I want to sell multiple courses at once. And then we have our students. I've pre-populated this. You can see the last time we looked at this was 2021. So our demo user is still in there, but they are disabled. And then we have our team members, which is just me. Let's go ahead and create a project. We'll call this maybe we'll just call this our courses. And let's add some courses in here. So we'll add some dummy courses. Maybe I'll drop some of mine in here to kind of get the idea for it. But I can already tell you this interface is different back from what it was in 2021. So we have our course with our author. We'll put Doug, and then we'll upload a logo. Maybe we'll make this one my actual upcoming course, the agency blueprint course. And then we'll give it a description. We'll just say, learn how to run an agency. Really creative. And then a support URL, you can set this at the course level. So we'll just call this, say that that's our support page right there. English is fine. And then we get to choose the course layout. I actually think this is pretty cool. We have the sidebar layout, which is new, was not in there. There's the top menu and the grid page. Let's go with their new version, not the legacy version of the sidebar. Let's check that out. And then we'll add another course to take a look at these other options as well. Let's go ahead and proceed. We didn't upload a profile image, so we'll see what kind of placeholder they give us. But let's create our course and look at this interface. Okay, there we go. So it looks like that profile image was just us, our profile. So let's go ahead and add something in there. I've added my little Convology logo. And then on the sidebar here, the only other thing we have are sequences, which we'll take a look at a little bit later in this second look at ThriveCart Learn Plus. Before we start populating our courses with modules and lessons, let's take a look at some of our course options that we have here up at the top. We can change our support URL at any time that we want to. Looks like if a subscription payment fails, we can choose whether we want to pause dripping or if we want to disable all access until the payment is made. Might be for like installment plans, which I think is actually really cool, or for subscription-based courses. We can choose whether we want to promote this course in the student dashboard. It's a pretty cool feature. So you can say like, hey, if you don't own this course, let's promote it. Let's just put in a placeholder URL. And then we can customize the course's registration page. It's actually interesting. Let's take a look at what that looks like. Okay, so this is like the page for signing in if you're existing or not. This is not the most beautiful looking thing on the planet here, but you get the idea. I can customize this experience per course. So we'll save that registration page, and then the login page, which is different from the actual course registration page. You can see here the courses login page can be customized. So let's do what we did before. Let's swap to a different image. Again, it's not going to be the most beautiful thing because I don't want to spend too much time on it. But let's save that there, and we'll evaluate whether or not that is unique to this course or if it replaced our general login one in just a little bit. Now, the next option is an interesting one. So your ThriveCart account by default has a URL associated with it. You're either using your default subdomain.thrivecart.com, or you've perhaps done what I've done, which is have like a secure.convology.com or a my.convology.com, a place where your entire ThriveCart checkouts live instead of using their ThriveCart domain. Now, by default, all of your courses would also share that domain, but you can set up a custom domain here by choosing a subdomain. So maybe we would do learn, I'll just call it learnplus.convology.com. And then if I click next, you'll see that they're giving me some instructions based on my DNS provider. I do use Cloudflare, which is nice. So from here, it would say just add a CNAME, and then I would just copy in these two records, the name and the value here, into my CNAME record at Cloudflare, and it would automatically load specifically when I'm in this course to this domain. So if I wanted to, I could have gone back and created a different group. So let's click cancel here. Let's save and exit because I'm going to go back and show you something. Let's go to dashboard. So here, remember when I added a project and I put this one course into the project. I could have a project for my membership, and I could have a project for individual courses. So you can have multiple projects. You may choose to have a branded domain for all of your courses in a particular project, or each individual course if you wanted to, instead of having just one universal domain if that suited your needs. I do know some people that use ThriveCart Learn, and I know they try to like mix branding. So like some of their courses are branded under one name and others are branded under another. And that's made possible by that customization of the course's domain name. So we'll leave ours off for now, but you do have the ability to customize that. And then you can add some rules here, like when a student gets access to the course, or there's a bunch of them. Access is unenrolled, when they complete it, when they complete a particular lesson. So you have this really granular ability to say, okay, when they complete lesson 5, I want to tag them in ActiveCampaign or in whatever tool that ThriveCart integrates with, which there are many under integrations. So like when they complete lesson 5, send them an email, or when they complete a module or complete the course, or when a new lesson is released. That'd be pretty cool. Or drip to them, send them an email as well. So I have really always liked it, even back in 2021, I've really liked that their behavior rules engine is quite robust. And it's built right into the tool, so you're not having to like load up a third-party tool. There's no Zapier involved here, as long as you're using a tool that's natively integrated. These behavior rules work quite well. Let's go ahead and create our first module. We'll call this one Module 1. So now we get to choose who has access to this course. You can do all students or students with specific tags. Tagging is talking specifically about tags inside of ThriveCart Learn, not like from your email service provider type tags. Maybe we'll say that only students who have the agency tag can get access to this, and then we'll create it. Now we can click and drag our lesson here on the left-hand side into our course, and that brings up a little window here. We can call this lesson, we call this how to get clients. I don't know, making this up as I go. And click create my lesson. And there's lesson 1. If we wanted to, we could add another 2. This one, maybe like what software to use with my agency. And click create my lesson. And we still have the same options, instant, which means they buy it, they get it all at once, or dripped. If you drip, I do want to go over those options. You can do a specific time period. So for example, drip out 1 a day, or on the 5th of the month, or on a specific day of the month, or on a very specific calendar date, or after a certain number of rebills, which is interesting because in other tools that I'm using, this is not a feature. And I think this is kind of cool because I've had many people say, well, I want to drip, but I only want to drip after the billing period happens. Maybe like a magazine subscription. I've helped a lot of people build magazine subscriptions on other platforms, and I've always had to find a way to kind of hack this together using ActiveCampaign or using their email provider with tags, or using something like Thrive Automator or something like that. So it's actually been pretty complicated to make that happen. But here it's just after a trial or a rebill. So it's built right into the tool, which I think is pretty cool. You can add images here per module and lesson, which is kind of cool. That's also not a feature that you see everywhere. Now, if I click preview, let's take a look at what we've got here on our course. We did choose that new design layout, which is that still a sidebar look. However, you can see that when I click on the lessons here or have my first module, I can jump between the different lessons, but I didn't add any content into them. So let's actually go and fix that here. So we added our lessons, we didn't add anything to them. If I click the edit button, it's going to bring me into the editor. And they have a really nice editor now with ThriveCart. So again, not something you quite have with all of the different tools, but we can edit everything on this right side here. So with most of my courses, I like to add videos. So I could drop a video in if I had one, and then I could add in, well, actually you could add multiple videos if you wanted to, which I think is pretty cool. So these are elements individual to the course, but we can also edit things that are consistent throughout the whole course. So for example, our title styling, I currently have it as pop-ins, but we could change the title, right? So if we wanted it to be bigger, maybe something like leave it at 18. If we want our module font size to be bigger, maybe just a little bit bigger there. And then if we want our lessons to be a little bigger, I do think they were kind of small. Maybe we'll make them like 14 something. Looks pretty good. So that's all dictated again under the course options. We did ours under title styling. Sidebar styling lets you change the sidebar coloring if you didn't want to use what looks like a default light mode with their ThriveCart teal. We could make this like our brand color. So we can brand it a little bit more, change it to our coloring instead of their default coloring. And you can choose, I thought this was a decent like quick macro touch, the ability to go from block design to pill design. I think I actually prefer the pill design. And you can choose the radius of the what they call the pill. Maybe we'll round ours out there. So that's global on the sidebar. You can adjust spacing, things like that. We won't fuss with too much. And then the default styling, default font colors. We can make that maybe more a brand color, things like that. So we won't do too much more on the tinkering here. You can change everything from progress bar colors. It's fairly comprehensive, but that would all be done here under the course options. Now on the right hand side though, we can click into our module, and this is individual to the module. So module 1, we can increase the font size of this, right? We could say, oh, it's module 1, the first module. My choice in words there was not great, but you can just get rid of this altogether. For example, if you didn't want the module to be at the top, it's not at the top anymore. So if I save this as a draft and I pop back in and I click edit on this lesson, let's go to lesson 2, for example, you can see it's still there. So the sidebar was global, but everything done in here was unique to the individual lesson. Let's go ahead and save that as a draft now. And then let's go ahead and preview it. And now we've got our placeholder stuff. So if I swap around lessons, you can see we made the change to that one and removed it, but this one still has our wonky module name. And you can click continue, and that'll take us out of our course. Now, if I were on the first lesson and I clicked continue, it'll take me to the second lesson. And if I'm on the last lesson of the course and I click continue, it takes me out of the course here to our course dashboard. And you have this little learn more, and that's where it had that little description, who it's by, stuff like that. Now let's take a look at sequences in the bottom left. So let's create an advanced sequence, create a rule, and that's probably what this should have been called a rules engine. So you can choose a trigger and an action. So the trigger could be they used a coupon to buy this course, or they've bought 2 courses, or they've been a member for so long, or they live in Canada. Anything you really want to do, you can come in here and have it trigger and then do something else. So maybe let's say if they have the tag agency, then we're going to add an action, and then you can say give them awards, remove them from courses, add courses, unlock all content in a course. There's a lot of different things you can do in this rules engine. So it's where a lot of the power, or more not power, but like the dynamic side of ThriveCart Learn comes into play. On the surface level, the course platform itself is very basic, but the rules engine or the advanced sequences mixed in with tagging, it gives you the ability to create something that's more than just completely basic. So let's save our course and return back to our dashboard. Let's go ahead and quickly add a course. One thing I like, believe it or not every platform lets you clone a course, which I think is really interesting. Let's go ahead and clone this course though, and let's just make some changes to it. Okay, I've changed my lessons so that they're a little bit different. So now let's take a look. I've changed our names. We're done editing our courses. Let's say that we wanted to share a login URL to a specific course, like our Building with our Astra Inspector course. I'm going to open up an incognito window and go to that, and you can see it has our logo for Building with Astra Inspectra. Let's come back here and copy the login URL to our agency blueprint course, paste that one in, and they're different. So there you go. You can link people directly to the login for a specific course and have it be branded completely different. So what is a quick link? Well, let's click on this to show you. It says a quick link can be used to preview your course as a student. So this is really their only way to do that unless you create a separate user, or to just give this course to somebody as a one-time gift. And what's interesting about this is that these links literally expire every time they're used. So we'll copy that link and let's go ahead and open an incognito window and try it out. So does this look familiar? Well, it should. This is that registration page. So when somebody is basically gifted this access, they can either sign up fresh or they can sign in if they're an existing student. So I'll click sign in as an existing student, and now I'm brought to that general login page that we built in the beginning. Or if I go back, I can create a new user. Let's just sign up for one, and let's click complete registration. Well, upon doing so, I have been brought to the dashboard that we set up, and notice the difference here. We gave ourselves building with Astra and Spectra, but not our agency blueprint course. That's why it's like grayed out, not that blue color. And then in the top right, we have our username, which we can change anytime we want to, or more like our name. And we also have our email address that we can change, which is actually really nice. It wasn't always this easy to do back in 2021, where we can change our password, change our email address, sign out, or update our profile. Actually, a really nice little simple user management interface. Okay, so let's continue on and take a look at some of the settings now that we have a student with access to the courses. We can dive into the My Student section to see that new student that we have here. We can view their profile. We can manually give them access to a course by hovering over these three dots on the far right, and we can say give access, and we can add the only course they don't have, which is that agency blueprint course. And then we can view their profile, and we can see what they have access to or what was disabled. I had actually given access to it a few times and then revoked it, so it gets saved in here. That might be a little bit of a quirk or a bug there, the fact that it's enabled, the fact that it's like kept a history and counts it as multiple courses. But we can click here to give access to a course if we had more of them, and see a quick little preview of what they have access to. It's actually pretty convenient. Actually, let's go back into this user real quick here, view the profile, and if we click edit next to the user, so here we can put tags inside the student's profile. We can change their email and their name. So for those support requests, like I can't remember, I don't use that email anymore. Can you give me a new email? You actually can, which is a pretty cool ability. You can delete the student or send a password reset to them. And then you can unenroll or disable access or pause content that gets stripped out to people right here from the dashboard. So that's actually pretty nice. It's a very nice system. Let's look at bundles now. We can create a bundle for the first time since we have two courses, and let's just call this our all access bundle. And when they buy that product or that bundle, they can get access to all of the products. We'll check them all and click continue. And then it says down here to sell the bundle, just when you're selling a product with ThriveCart, under fulfillment, select the bundle, which we'll take a look at. So inside of our product, we're creating it. We can call this our all access bundle. And then I'll just flop over to the fulfillment tab real quick, and you can add them to our membership site, which is what you'll need to select for ThriveCart Learn. And then we can keep it on ThriveCart Learn there. Here's our two courses that we have, as well as our all access bundle. So if we choose that option and proceed with creating a checkout and sales page, when they purchase the product, they'll instantly get access to all of our courses that we had included in that bundle. So when it comes to selling access to your courses, it does not get any easier than that, pretty much across the board, giving you full access to a sales funnel with upsells and downsells, and the ability to create bundles and individual courses literally within the same interface. The easiest system that I've seen that has as many features as ThriveCart does for selling products. Okay, so the last little bit that I want to show you in terms of customization was if we go into a particular course and we can edit the course layout. This was that sidebar with the new design. I want to quickly show you the top menu and the grid page designs. So let's go ahead and proceed with this one and click preview. You can see this one is actually really neat, kind of almost like I don't know if you're familiar with LearnDash or some of the other course platforms. I like this one. It shows more at the top here what lesson you're on, and you can swap lessons quickly from there. It gives you a progress bar at the top. This is actually really, really nice. It's pretty clean. And if you click go back, it just takes you right back to the menu for the courses or the course dashboard. Let's change the course layout again. This time, let's go to our grid page layout. Let's come back in and let's preview our course now with the grid view. The grid view is interesting because the grid view gives you this customizable sort of lesson dashboard that you don't have with the other layouts. Imagine this top section being your sidebar. So because it's so customizable, we can edit our course content page. Actually, if I change the layout back to the sidebar, notice that this course content page section disappears. And if I change the layout to the top menu, click proceed, it's not there. It's only visible under this grid page option right here. And if I click edit there, you can create a fully customizable like lesson hub for your particular course, where we could customize this to say building with Astra Spectra, and we can change our typography to be, sure, something goofy like that. And then just like previously, we have all of our styling options that we have. I won't dive into too much details on those. But then here on our course section, we have the ability to, let's say, add a download right onto this page. Like, by the way, this download feature, I didn't show you before, but you can totally add it to individual lessons, which I think is super cool. Because here on the left-hand side, you can link to your downloads, show a different image for the download. Like, let's drop in, I don't know, some random image. How about that one? Let's say that this is our, template that we want them to have, or our workbook. You could put details in there and then just link the download button where you want it to go. So imagine if you had this mini course that had a workbook with it. Really, really neat interface. I actually really wish this feature would come to other platforms. So this gets my vote for something fairly novel and very easy to edit and implement. So that's it in terms of the customization, a lot more than there was in 2021. Okay, so I really quickly want to talk about some things that I think ThriveCart Learn still struggles with and some things it doesn't do. And then we'll talk about some things that I really like. So first off, no comments in any lessons. There's no built-in comment feature for people to ask questions, which could be completely fine for some people, but also kind of annoying for others. People want the ability for people to ask questions in their courses, particularly if they don't have a community component to what they're selling. There is a workaround that I've implemented for some people. You can actually get a plugin tool software that is embeddable with HTML, and you can drop it right onto the page and it works totally fine. There's a couple different providers, but it is a third party, so it is an additional cost just to have a comments section. Unfortunately, also, the next big downside, maybe even the biggest one, is that all of the emails, all of the communications, all of that still comes directly from a ThriveCart-based account instead of from an account at your domain. So when they get an email, anything that they get, it's fully branded ThriveCart, zero ability to customize any of the emails whatsoever. So compare that even with platforms like Circle that doesn't really allow you to customize the sending domain. It still says it's coming from you, and you can still customize a lot of the different emails that come from your course platform. Contrast that with something like a WordPress-based solution where it's definitely going to come from you and you can customize everything. You give up a lot of the customization by choosing a very off-the-shelf solution like ThriveCart Learn, although in most cases, it's all in one package and it's just going to work. Another, I don't know if this is necessarily a downside, but I feel like the experience of your students logging in, it still in my mind feels fragmented. Now, you don't have to create an individual login page for each course. You don't have to create an individual domain for each course. You can just use your default, which I think might be okay, but it still feels fragmented, and they're having times when logging into a particular course and then hitting the back button or going and clicking into another course, you see different like disjointed branding and presentation. So I think you have to be careful about like overdoing it and creating too many different login pages if you want that to feel kind of cohesive. But overall, I think that the downsides are much less than they were back in 2021. Now, I want to talk about some of the positives, and in doing so, I think this is going to be my who is this for section. I think the negatives identified who it wasn't for, right? If you want a ton of customization, you want a community, you want more kind of control over certain features, this is a very, like, it's rigid, right? It's an out-of-the-box solution, limited customization. Who it is for, though? It is for someone who wants to pay once, only $195, and that's it. You're done forever. For the lifetime of this product, you have access to this course platform. You cannot beat that. I've yet to find a cheaper solution. It's fully integrated with ThriveCart because it is ThriveCart, and that means you can quickly create a sales page, a checkout page, upsells, downsells, the whole funnel, and sell your courses without a website. You don't need a website at all. You don't need a website to sell it. You don't need a website to give access to it. You don't have to fuss with emails because they all come from ThriveCart anyway. So if you're saying to yourself, I don't want to do any techie work, then ThriveCart Learn is absolutely for you. I think that's who this product was created for, 100%. I think about the kind of user that would use a tool like Gumroad, or that's like an old one, maybe it's still around. But there's those tools out there, right? Like third-party processors, people that handle the sales tax for you. Like you ask yourself, why would people use those products? Well, because you don't need an e-commerce setup. You don't need a website. It's just literally done for you. You make your thing and you sell it. This, you make your course, you give people access to it. It's done. So if you fit into that who is this for box, then I would say ThriveCart Learn has come a long way since it first started. And I do give it my recommendation for people that fit that criteria. If you don't fit into that criteria and you're like, well, I want native comments and I don't want them to mess with my email, I wanted to have complete control of that. And you're like, I want total customization over everything, and I gotta have it be integrated into my website, and I have to have it integrated into my community, then ThriveCart's definitely not for you. Okay, I hope that was helpful as a second look at ThriveCart Learn. I definitely feel like it deserved that second look. I think looking at it back in 2021 when they first introduced it, it was good and probably still really good for that core audience that I described. But if you're in that core audience, this is 100% even better than it was and a great solution for you. So if you have any questions about ThriveCart Learn, I've been doing a lot of implementation for clients, and which is why I've done this second look through it, because I've been impressed with how it works. Feel free to reach out. We did not go into any complex details about the sequences or the automations that you can create in the platform, because in a weird way, I think that those are probably only applicable to like 5% of that core audience we described. The core audience wants simplicity. I sell a course, I give access, I'm done, don't need a website. So anyway, if you have questions, feel free to leave them down below or check out the Convology All Access community where I can absolutely give you more support.